Boom. All right, what's going on, you guys? It's Royce Jacob. Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we are going to be talking about our good old Bitcoin miners. Unfortunately, the majority of this sector got smoked today, but at least we got a nice splash of green on top. Nice big old scoop of guac to cool things down a little bit. That guac, of course, being support.com or SPRT stock. You'll love to see it. As many of you know, SPRT has been my favorite trade in the entire market for the past week or two, so I could not have been more stoked to see it in the green today, and not only significantly outperforming the crypto sector, but pretty much the entire equity market, because equities had a rough day today. All right, so let's get into it, dive into the charts, talk some price action. As always, we'll quickly go over the names we'll be discussing, and then we'll dive into each one individually. Okay, so of course we cannot talk about Bitcoin miners without first discussing Bitcoin having a rough past 24 hours. And although the chart short term may be a little worrisome, does look a little iffy, looks a little sus, I still think that there is definitely potential for upside, and I will explain to you guys why. So we'll kick it off with Bitcoin, talk about the king, then we'll move into that splash of guac, the big old heap and scoop of guac that is SPRT, up almost 7% today. Closing the day up almost 7%. You love to see that, considering Riot down 9%, Mara down 8%, BTBT down 6%. And bitfarms down over 15%. Bitfarms getting absolutely smoked today. Okay, so those are all the names we'll be discussing. We will just go down the line here, kick it off with the good, and then end it with, I guess, the worst, you could say. But I will say now, you guys, because I do still see potential for Bitcoin to pop to the upside, I do still think that there's definitely hope for these miners. With SPRT, it makes me very happy to see that at the very least, like, even though the entire market pretty much pulled back today, that SPRT performed well. And if this continues to happen, SPRT still has a chance at performing well. And if the entire sector does well, SPRT could do well as well. Okay, so kind of the double-edged sword there. But I do think that there is still hope. Granted, Bitcoin does see some upside, like I believe it can. That, of course, Bitcoin miners will follow in its footsteps and could see new highs pretty soon, again, in the case that Bitcoin does as well. So we'll kick it off with Bitcoin. But before we do dive into the charts, actually, of course, as always, I have to ask you guys to please give the video a like if you do go on to gain value from it today. Let me know in the comments down below what you think about the sector right now. If you guys are holding SPRT, if you guys weren't holding SPRT, if you guys wish you were, if you guys were holding a bag of everything else, just let me know what went on today, what was going through your minds, and yeah, we'll talk shop about it down below. Subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, want to catch more content like this. Follow the crypto, follow the EV, follow the revolutionary sector journey with the rest of the waves, fam. And of course, check out my complete portfolio daily newsletter if you want a complete breakdown of my entire personal portfolio. Want to know exactly how I'm personally trading, how I'm trading all of the names you see here today, how stoked I was with SPRT, with the complimentary daily newsletter that I send out every morning with the portfolio update during market hours. That will be 15 bones a month or 40 bucks for every 3 months. Completely up to you, to each their own. First link down below. Really means a lot if you guys check that out. But as always, if not, no worries at all. I appreciate your eyeballs watching right now. Okay, so let's dive into Bitcoin, and then we'll hop in to our beloved miners. All right, so Bitcoin right here, you guys. I just covered Bitcoin yesterday, but things are moving quickly. We are at a pretty pivotal time for Bitcoin from a technical perspective, so I feel like it's very, very necessary to give these daily updates on Bitcoin at this moment in time. All right, so forgive me if it gets repetitive, but again, I feel it's important, so I'm going to share it with you guys. So Bitcoin, again, just zoom out a little bit, in a nice medium-term ascending channel. This is the ascending channel right here. These two green lines are the lines that represent the line of support and the line of resistance on this ascending channel. Currently, Bitcoin is also in a series of setting higher highs and higher lows. Right now, you could say, which we technically are, starting from right here, the last high for Bitcoin, technically just above $48,000 was the last high. Then it did start to set a series of lower lows as well. So high, low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, which we're at right now. We're kind of basing out on this lower low, which does seem worrisome from a shorter term perspective. But when you zoom out and take a look at this over, like the more medium term, again, this overall ascending channel, we've seen this before. And this is why I do have these two arrows drawn here. So you can see here, if you really kick off this uptrend from right here, again, high, low, higher high, if you count these two, like kind of like just, I guess the butt shape right here. Boom, higher high, or higher high, just counting those two as one high, low. We're seeing kind of the same thing play out here. So boom, high, low, lower high, lower low, like I was just kind of saying. But if you do batch these together like we did back here, we are still technically setting a higher low on this uptrend right here, as long as we're above this red line right here, which is about 43.8. I'm sorry. So $43,800, as long as we are above that. Just to play it safe, as long as we're above like $44,000, I say, which we really did bounce off like just now on this 4-hour candle that we're seeing right now, kind of bounced off that. As long as we are safely above $44,000, then we are still establishing, in my eyes, a higher low on this overall uptrend. If we break below that, definitely if we break down below, I mean, at this point, I guess the only, like, the really when I get worried, if the current uptrend that I believe, like the overall uptrend that I believe we're on now that this overall support has been broken, this red line right here, once we broke that, I was like, thrusters initiated, we're back to the races. So as long as we maintain this ascending channel, like, it's going to worry me if we do break below $44,000, and to be honest, if that happens, it's almost inevitable in my opinion that we ultimately come down to test the line of support on this ascending channel, which is going to be, just say August 18th right there. That's going to bring us to about $42,000, $43,000. So just under 43K if we do come to test this. So at this point in time, I will say if we break below, just to play it safe, if we break below $43,000, that's when I'm going to get a little worried, and that's when I do think that we could see more medium-term downside ahead. But until then, I remain bullish. I still see a series of higher highs and higher lows, again, with these nice butt highs. But I do think that it's very possible that by this weekend, we do ultimately come up to test this top line of resistance on the ascending channel. That would take us, figuratively, again, August 21st, just where the cursor falls, that is this Saturday. That'll take us to 52K. And if Bitcoin can break the psychological even of $50,000, $50,000, 52K would obviously break 50K. But if we can break 50K from a psychological perspective, this purple line right here, I do think we are going to be back to the races. And of course, that is going to be amazing news for all the Bitcoin miners. So again, kick it off with the good. Kick it off with good old SPRT, the MVP of the day. And then we'll move down the line and talk about the not so good, okay? Talk about the spice. But again, SPRT right now, again, I freaking love to see this. What is SPRT? We strong by. That's what I love to see, you guys. You guys know the bull meter on TradingView. Don't put a crazy amount of weight on this, like I always say. But if I have fundamental and technical conviction around something already, and then I scroll down to the good old bull meter on TradingView and it says strong buy, that just makes me that much more bullish. And once again, it's just the cherry on top, okay? So we love to see that, you guys. I hope you have bagged up on SPRT over the past week like I have. And yeah, I do think we're gonna make our way back up, okay? So series of higher highs and higher lows. There's not much to say here aside from the upside price targets. So I do think that SPRT is going to test one of these very, very soon, likely by the end of the week, if I'm being completely honest. Definitely by the end of the next week. These two fall on August 25th. Don't know exactly why I did August 25th, but let's just go with these August 25th price targets. Could happen a lot sooner. Keep in mind, you guys, could happen once again by the end of this week. That is going to be the 20th. So say by the end of this week. I know, we'll keep it conservative, go August 25th, mid next week, all right? So if we do see these targets hit, these lines of resistance stricken, keep in mind, you guys, all the price targets we're going to be talking about today are completely dependent on the trend lines and when these trend lines are hit. So August 25th, again, just figuratively, August 25th, if this trend line right here, the more conservative trend line, is tested, that would take us to just under $12. If the less conservative, but still somewhat conservative, because I'm not using this absolute high right here. Why is it not moving? This absolute high right there, you can see is a little more conservative, but still optimistic. Want to make that very clear. If we test my bullish trend line on August 25th, exactly, that would take us to $13.50 on the dot. Okay, so $12 to $13.50 is going to be my price target, my short to medium term price target over the coming week or so. Excuse me, got a little itch in my throat. Getting too excited, too much guac in my throat. But anyway, you guys, support.com looks great. Again, as I just said in the beginning, the fact that it weathered the storm today, the fact that it saw green, while pretty much the entirety of the equity markets, especially growth sectors, as many of you guys experienced today, I assume, saw red. Like, there was carnage, you guys. It was a bloody Tuesday in the equity markets. So the fact that SPRT closed the day out up almost 7% is so freaking bullish, and I could not be more happy and and contented with this pick over the course of the past couple of weeks. So again, let me know down below, did you bag up on SPRT? Are you eating good off SPRT today? Because, I mean, thank God this has been the largest position in my portfolio. Definitely the largest position in my portfolio going into this week. Solidified that position today, and I could not be more stoked. So let me know down below if you guys took part in the MVP of the day, all right? Moving on to Riot Blockchain, and then we'll close it out with all the rest. So Riot, kind of, I mean, not super similar to Bitcoin here, but kind of similar in the sense that this is just kind of a janky uptrend. So Riot, again, broke the overall line of resistance. Once this line of resistance on the long-term downtrend was broken, this red line right here, pretty much gapped right up above that. Since then, been in a pretty conservative, pretty chill uptrend. Seeing a lot of volatility certain days, but a lot of sideways price action as well. So I mean, right here, we are still technically in an uptrend. Again, this is a janky uptrend. High, kind of low, but more sideways. So high, sideways, low, high, low, and then I wouldn't be surprised to see some sideways price action for a little bit. Riot, if you guys caught last week's video, did reclaim this ascending channel for a day or two, but unfortunately we did break down below that, and now we are once again below this ascending channel. So I do think that if Bitcoin does perform once again, this is all very, very heavily reliant, you guys, on Bitcoin performing. So keep that in mind. A lot of times miners are going to be a reflection of Bitcoin as well as the sentiment of growth sectors within the equity market. So because S&P, NASDAQ were significantly down today, Bitcoin was down as well. That induced exceptional fear and exceptional sell-offs across the Bitcoin mining sector because they're the kind of the culmination, once again, of sentiment across Bitcoin and the equity markets combined, okay? So if the equities markets tank, that's also not good news. If Bitcoin does well, though, if Bitcoin can outperform the equity markets, this is very important. If capital starts to flow out of larger, like the big caps, the blue chips, the big stocks, the S&P, the NASDAQ, the Dows, if that capital starts to flow into the crypto sector, in the case that crypto does perform, investors are going to want to put their money to work still. They're going to want to make money. Money always wants to make money. That's the nature of the world, okay? So if capital does flow out of blue chips, out of large caps, into the crypto sector, obviously hyper bullish for all the stocks we're talking about today. But again, that's just kind of something that's processing in the back of my mind right now. That's a thought that's definitely floating in my head. You guys should consider that as well, and also be mindful of that and just watch how the markets are acting and how the Bitcoin mining sector is reacting to the actions of the greater equity markets. Okay, so anyway, again, you guys, the price action of most of these, this principle applies to all the rest of the stocks that we're talking about today. Support.com, I will just say there's a short squeeze in play. I mean, short squeezes are very real, but it's very dependent on whether pretty much whether the bulls run. Whether the short squeeze bulls run into the stock. It's very dependent on whether people get on board or not. Okay, so short squeeze, obviously there's a lot of potential for short squeezes. I have seen a lot of short squeezes in the past that were very susceptible to be short squeezed in the case that people hopped on board. It didn't happen. So the thing about short squeezes is if they happen, great. That's huge because they're very effective if they do actually play out. But it's completely dependent on whether or not people hop on board and buy the stock to squeeze out the shorts, okay? So just wanted to throw that out there. That is also a reason that SPRT really gained today because there is a lot of short pressure on this stock and it's very short squeezable, okay? So volume there, again, another argument for SPRT for the bull side, on top of me just being fundamentally bullish on it with the merger with Green Ridge Mining coming up, okay? So regardless, Riot, Mara, BTBT, bitfarms, Canaan, whatever stock you're looking at in the crypto equity sector, very dependent on the performance of Bitcoin in the overall equity markets. If Bitcoin performs, I would like to see Riot reclaim this channel, and that's a bridge that we're just going to cross when we get to it, okay? So that's Riot. Let's move on to Mara, good old Mara Moon. So Mara, today unfortunately did break below this very strong line of support after I was just talking about how strong this line of support was in yesterday's newsletter, unfortunately. But this was a strong line of support, you guys. Again, strong line of support right here on Mara's previous ascending channel. Also acted as a pretty significant line of resistance. Once we broke back into this ascending channel right here, you can see Mara just went parabolic. Since then, kind of tested this a few times before finally breaking down today. And because we did break down today, that's a bummer, you guys. But again, similar story here with Riot's janky uptrend, high, low, but sideways low, higher high, setting in this low. We'll probably see a nice like sideways low similar to this as well before breaking out again. Okay, so this all said, once again, very dependent on Bitcoin's performance. Because I'm bullish on Bitcoin, I think it's very possible that we do see positive price action in the likes of Bitcoin miners as well. So same with Riot. I would like to see Mara reclaim this ascending channel first, and we'll just cross that bridge when we come to it, because you guys know we talk about the sector at least once or twice a week. Okay, so keep you guys posted. Again, subscribe to the channel if you guys do want daily updates on these guys. That's always in the newsletter. I pretty much just screenshot for those of you who haven't been part of the newsletter or aren't part of the newsletter. What are you doing? But usually in the newsletters, again, even if I'm not trading much, I will just put in like screenshots of exactly what you're looking at right here. With like this morning, it was SPRT, Riot, and bitfarms, and I just screenshotted the charts, throw them in, throw some price targets, and let you guys know during actual market hours what I'm thinking about these stocks. So just a heads up for that. Once again, those of you guys who for some reason aren't part of the newsletter. Okay, so that's Mara again. Riot, Mara, just want to see them reclaim these previous ascending channels, and then I will get even more bullish. I'll get very bullish from a technical short to medium term perspective. There we go. Let's get specific. Okay, so BTBT has seen a pretty significant pullback. Let's price range this guy real quick because I'm curious. Price range from the top right to where our low today, 44% correction from BTBT's high just like a week ago. So 7-8 days ago, BTBT's high of almost $21 has seen a 44% correction. At this point, BTBT is definitely a buy in my opinion. I would not doubt the fact that we can come down a little bit lower. My ultimate downside price target for BTBT is going to be about $9.50. At $9.50, I am a massive buyer of BTBT. It sucks that we've seen such a drawdown in volume, but the volume's still here. Again, eyeballs are still on the stock. Awareness is still definitely high. If Bitcoin does perform, BTBT will definitely perform. Very cool company sitting at a $580 million market cap. I remember a week ago when I was at a billy, but again, right now, we're very close to my initial buy target, which is around $11.20. So I will just say in the range from $9.50 to $10.50, I'm a massive buyer of BTBT. Definitely for the long term. Again, short term might be a little dicey. Maybe we see a little bit more downside, but I will just say from $9.50 to $10.50, I'm definitely a buyer of BTBT. And from there, I believe we'll see more upside because, once again, I think Bitcoin's going to see more upside. Like to see green here. We kicked off the video in the red, but I do like to see 2 splashes of green on top now. Extra guac, a little bit of guac, no extra charge. But we're rich, so it doesn't matter. We don't worry about the price of guac around here, right, Waves fam? Okay. I mean, if you do, that's perfectly fine. Want to be inclusive as possible, but at the same time, get the guac if you want the guac, right? Okay, so let's close it out with bitfarms. Bitfarms. Kind of similar sort of BTBT. I was expecting this to happen, you guys. Again, a lot of times capital will flow between different players in the sector. So, for instance, today, a lot of the capital, maybe you had like a little position in SPRT and larger positions in all these. If a trader is going into their brokerage account, if you're going into your trading app, and you see that SPRT is in the green and all these are getting smoked, you might sell some of these positions because SPRT is looking pretty good. Sell some of these positions, pick up some SPRT, right? I feel like a decent amount of people did that today. Okay, so that's how you have to think. Bitfarms has been ripping. I assume some traders who caught it down here are taking some profits. Again, just like less than a month ago, Bitfarms was at $3. It got to a high of 7. So it over 2x, like 2.5x in the span of less than a month. So traders are going to take profits. Again, you guys, I mean, just Newton's third law, action and reaction. Every action has an equal. I mean, that doesn't really apply actually in the stock market or stocks, but you guys know, you guys get the gist of it. You guys know what I'm trying to say there. The higher you climb, the harder you fall. The more, the more. I just said this in the Discord regarding the S&P, NASDAQ, and stuff. The longer you climb, the more likely it becomes that you'll slip, okay? So that is more relevant for the equity markets. This is more of a higher climb, harder you fall situation. But regardless, not surprising that Bitfarms did see the blunt of today's pullback, considering it's just ripped up so hard. And again, that's just the game, you guys. Seen this 1,000 times before. And yeah, Bitfarms from a technical perspective, from a buy range perspective, getting pretty damn close to my targets today. In all honesty, Shut Up Portfolio newsletter did pick up a little bit more Bitfarms because we reached my initial target, which was this high right here back on August 5th. My next target is going to be the previous high. Again, you guys, when I'm setting buy targets on pullbacks, on corrections, I'm pretty much just looking for previous highs, okay? Because that usually is where the stock on a correction ends up basing out, okay? So next target down from here is going to be $4.74, the lucky numbers. So next target from here, roughly $4.75. And then my absolute downside price target where I'll bag up heavily on Bitfarms is at about $4.40. So 450, just say if I see 450, I'm pressing the buy button. All right, so we'll call it there, you guys. Please let me know in the comments down below once again if you partook in the SPRT run today, if you are absolutely struggling with some of these miners. Trust me, you guys, you know I hold positions in all of these. Even if you don't have the portfolio, you know that I have positions in all of these stocks. Again, biggest bags in SPRT really floated the portfolio today. Very thankful for that. But again, I definitely felt the pain today as well. So let me know if you were eating good. Let me know if you got your mouth burnt off because you had some of the spicy tacos that are all of these guys right here. So I can pat you on the back, give you some milk, but really stretching out, really milking the taco references today. So anyway, happy Taco Tuesday. Go pop a Corona. I'm going to go do that right after this and grab a burrito. So Burrito Tuesday, Taco Tuesday. Same thing, you guys. Cheers. I'll talk to you downstairs in the comments. Until next time, always remember, take action, make waves. Peace.